All right, are we back? Are we back up and running? Seems like it. Then another combo is that results in drawing our entire deck, basically. Then there's Corrose the Guild Mage plus Phyrexian Altar. Why is this infinite? So it goes sacrifice a non-token creature. Okay, so 4 mana, sack the non-token creature. Put X counters where X is its toughness. So we go 4 mana, sack Hogaak, make 8 1/1s, then Phyrexian Altar, sack all of them for Why is that infinite? What is the step-by-step to do this? Activate Corrosda, pay 4, sack Hogaak. If Hogaak's your commander, don't put him in the command zone. Oh, yeah, obviously. Resolve Corrosda, create 8 1/1s. Cast Hogaak from your graveyard. Oh, yeah, cast Hogaak from your graveyard. Right, because you can convoke it. And then activate Phyrexian Altar, eat the Saprolings, so you make infinite creature tokens and you have infinite mana. So combo card. And we have Altar in here, right? Okay, yeah. Then what's the next one? It's Infested Thrynax and Altar of Dementia. We already added Altar, so Infested Thrynax. Wait, where is Altar? Oh, it's in combos. Okay. Infested Thrynax. When it enters the battlefield until end of turn, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a number of tokens equal to that creature's power. So you go Hogaak, Thrynax, and then Altar of Dementia on Hogaak, and you get to mill infinitely, right? Yeah. Combo card. Then there's Rose the Guild Mage, which we already have, plus Utopia Mycon. Back a Saproling, add 1 mon. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 4 counter. So this one's basically just taking the place of Phyrexian Altar because Corrosive makes Saprolings and it can sack Saprolings for mana. Okay, then there's interconnected combos, Infested Thrynax plus Phyrexian Altar. Then there's Chaldea Guardian plus Altar of Dementia. What is Chaldea Guardian? Chaldea Guardian. Whenever it or another creature you control with mana value 4 or greater dies, create 2 1/1s. So this is plus Altar of Dementia. Because you can delve, right? Yeah, so you can just delve your whole deck. So delving your whole deck doesn't actually win the game unless, and we don't have a Thassa's Oracle or anything that we can grab from the graveyard. So obviously we're going to be a Dread Return deck. I'd also like to be a Hermit Druid deck. Let's see what else. This deck, we probably want to get stuff out as fast as possible. So we actually probably do want fast mana here. So let's go with add fast mana as a package. And then the ones I'm going to want is primarily Blood Pet's fine. Culling the Weak's fine. Dark Ritual. Spirit Guide. Select creature, add mana equal to its casting cost to your mana pool. Rain of Filth. Not Rain of Filth, not Squandered Resources, but Sacrifice, yes. Metamorphosis, yes. We should also have Songs of the Damned in this deck. That's probably all fine. The only combo I can think in this colors that's the fastest thing is Wither Chain. Wither Chain, right? So, but how do you get that back from the graveyard? You can Dread Return Witherbloom Apprentice back from the graveyard, but then you can't. There's no way to get Chain of Smog out of your graveyard. That's the Thrynax plus Viscera Seer, so you just need a sack outlet. Okay, so Viscera Seer. Or Carrion Feeder, but I'll just have Viscera Seer be the main one. Ashnod's Altar plus Thrynax, but doesn't it already go with Phyrexian Altar? Yeah, okay, that's fine. And then finally, Woe Strider. So it's just a sack outlet. Blasting Station, Yahenni. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, we've got Dread Return. How do we actually win that? So I guess, yeah, we can do. What is it? What's the Underworld card that gets exiled? The one that mana equals BBD. I guess we can have Necro Dominance in the deck too. Necro Dominance. Bridge from below, that's it. So we need a card that's going to trigger on stuff dying. So that would be Marionette Apprentice is our best Blood Artist effect. Yeah. ID is green and black. MC less than or equal to 2. Whenever dies. Oh yeah, Skull Clamp. Skull Clamp. Blood Artist, Zulport, Meat Hook. Whenever another creature dies, you gain 1 life. Okay, we want to hurt people. Theron. But it's not going to get any better than Marionette on 2. So what about 1? Leave your graveyard, put a counter on this. Yeah, it's basically just going to be Marionette Apprentice, right? So we've got multiple combos. Some give us infinite mana and tokens. Some give us infinite whatevers. If we Hermit Druid our whole deck, then what happens, right? We have to cast Hogaak at that point because we can just delve everything. And we've got guaranteed at least 1 creature. We've got Hermit Druid as the second creature, and then we just need a 3rd creature to be in play in order to Dread Return. Any 3rd creature. Put into your graveyard from your library. When it enters the battlefield, whenever 1 more creature cards are put in your graveyard. So yeah, so we don't have Narcomoeba, we've got Creeping Chill, that's whatever. We don't have Narcomoeba, we don't have Prized Amalgam, we don't have any of those things. There's one that's in mono black that is about gaining life, but we don't have a way to do that. Edge Shredder. So let's see. So one outlet is if we can loop Hogaak forever, we can Altar of Dementia everybody else out of the game, maybe? So we only have one copy of Bridge from Below, unlike the modern deck. So we can only create so many things with it. Mainly it's like Dread Return out Corrodes the Guildmage so we can go infinite. But then how do we get like the actual win, right? Because if we don't have anything with haste, what's the ones? So anger is not in our colors. Brawn is trample, and the black one is fear, I believe. Is in your graveyard. Brawn, Genesis, Filth. Oh, it's Swamp Walk. Okay. Well, that still doesn't help. Whenever opponent mills it on land. Bridge from Below. I know there's more stuff. Nether Shadow from Upkeep. Icarid, yeah. From your graveyard to the battlefield. Stack any number of things and return that many things. We could do mass reanimation with like living death as one thing. At the beginning of upkeep, put 2 Eon counters on it, then mill that many. If you draw a card while your library has no cards in it, instead reanimate something, and if you can't, you lose. So yeah, that doesn't really help. I checked YouTube and saw your stream ended 1 minute ago and thought I'd missed you for the day. Have you critiqued my deck or is it on the wheel? I believe we have not. The stream went down because there was an outage temporarily. So the stream was down for like 2 minutes or something. Let's see. So we've got our removal, we've got our protection, we've got a sweeper, we've got a little bit of tutoring, we've got all our ramp. We may not even need Oppo Agent. We've got fast mana, we got the card draw stuff, and then we've got a bunch of these combo pieces. But the problem is all these like, so all the combos. Here's all the results of the combos. Draw your whole deck. That one's obviously good because then we can just find another combo in the deck. Then there's this one, which is infinite mana and infinite creature tokens, but we don't actually win on the spot doing this. Then this one is, again, infinite of, like, creature tokens. This one, infinite colored mana and tokens. What about exile card name from your graveyard? Which ones do we have? Put an indestructible counter, draw. Whatever for desert. Gain 5 life. Nothing with these ones. I guess Gravecrawler, but we need a zombie. Activate only if in your graveyard. So Shifting Woodland. Oh, Shifting Woodland's a pretty good one because it's a land that we can activate, and we're definitely going to have Delirium if our whole deck's over. And what else? Tomb Tyrant, sacrifice a creature, return, activate only during turn only if there are at least 3 zombies in your graveyard. I want things that can be activated from my graveyard. So infinite tokens, infinite mana, but then it's like, how do you win? So Altar of Dementia can be a win con because you can potentially mill everybody else out, right? Infinite self-mill here, but or near infinite mill on opponents, that's fine. Infinite death triggers and scrying and whatnot, infinite of this. But a lot of these don't actually allow us to win the game at the... I guess I can put the Wither Chain combo in here anyway, because we do have a fair amount of protection. So like if we just have Dosan in play, for example, fine. Wither Bloom, Apprentice. So the main thing that involves milling is Hermit Druid or Altar of Dementia. It's one of those two. And that's it. Nothing else really involves it. I feel like there's got to be a payoff that I'm not thinking of. All right, what does Rex say? Hogaak. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's all fine. Yeah, Head Shredder, sure. What's actually in the deck? Enters or dies, mill 3. I don't care about that part. Grizzly Salvage. We already have Greater Good. Mill and add a token is basically like 2 mana to get 5 for Hogaak, but we're not really trying to get Hogaak out as fast as possible. It's more like we're trying to set up a situation where that part of it doesn't matter. When it dies, return target land from your graveyard to your hand. Ripples of death, of undeath. Yeah, I don't really want any of those cards. Let's see. E-Witness. Yeah, that does make sense. And potentially milling over something important or like losing something important that we need to get back. There's like Aftermath Analyst. Turn all the lands. I can't think of a way that that would actually help us to win though. Cycle of Frailes. Alright, that's too much land, so let's get rid of Reflecting Pool. Roots. Whenever one or more creatures leave your graveyard, create an 0/1. Don't need that. We have Altar. We don't need to dredge. Disciple of Bola. So yeah, just the card draw spells that allow us to draw off of Hogaak being in play. That seems fine. Life's Legacy. Disciple of Bolas. Momentous Fall. Okay, then we got more of this stuff. Yeah, 6 should definitely be in the deck. 6. What would I consider 6 as far as its category goes? I guess it's kind of in the same camp as Eternal Witness. Yeah, is there a creature that we can reanimate that says like for each creature card in your graveyard damage, right? There's the giant, but that's only hits one opponent, right? Number of somethings in your graveyard. Type creature. Well, I guess let's just see in general. 63 cards that care about this. Grist, Stick Fingers, Marin, Mausoleum Secrets, Squirming. Where is the giant? Lotleth giant. There's Brood Spinner. How is it not here? Lotleth. 1 damage target opponent for each creature card in your graveyard, and it's only target opponent. Yeah. 4 each in your graveyard. Emrakul, Multani. Sacrifice another creature. Each opponent loses life equal to sacrifice creature's power. Not what we need to do, though. As long as the damned we have. Izoni is not what we need either. I don't think there's a way to do it. Lord of Extinction plus Durod? Yeah, but we need both of them in that case. I can only dread return one thing. Genesis in your graveyard, pay 3 if you do return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Don't need that. Old Rutstein. Number of creatures you control that are fungus. Create X, where X is the number of times you descended. Yeah, there's Hermit Druid. Honest Rutstein. Creatures cost 1 less. We got that guy already. Oh, Bloodgasp. There we go. That's a guy that we can get back into play for free. So yeah, we'll have him there so we can do mill everything, get this back, so we always have the third creature, and just in case we didn't have one before. What in the world is this? Is this greater good? Alright, what else do we have access to? Problem is, like, none of our combos involve only creatures. They always involve... Well, that's not true. We do have some that involve, like, Utopia Mycon, for example, but a lot of them involve Altar or the other Altar. And then there's, like, Chain of Smog plus Witherbloom Apprentice is another one. Like, Zombie Infestation is another one. Alright, we obviously have to make room. What's 4 cards that can go? We have some redundancy, so... Actually, we don't need Sylvan Safekeeper, right? Yeah, we don't need Sylvan Safekeeper. So that can get out of here. And then this is probably more removal than we actually need. So... Cut Fell the Profane, and I'm thinking about Nature's Claim. Let's get rid of Nature's Claim. I was only thinking about keeping Bowmaster specifically because it's two creatures for 1 card, so it adds to the Convoke. That's probably fine. Then here's a bunch of ramp spells. We do want Monovault. I guess I don't care about Deluge because I'm just trying to win before anything matters like that. Alright, so they do have Lord of Extinction. There's also Ruthless Technomancer. Enters the second of the creature if you create a number of treasures equal to its power. That seems pretty good with Hogaak. Ruthless. Heck no. Yeah, I would consider that fast mana. What does this do? Sack a black or creature or artifact. Add an amount of black equal to the creature's casting cost to your mana pool. Soul, Deadvi, add Nate. Fast mana. I did not even know this card existed. Fanatic Aronis. Oh yeah, Bloom Tender. Let's get Bloom Tender out of here. How many enchantments do we have in our deck? We have a 9. Alright, let's get rid of Sanctum Weaver. Spells. Tend the Pest, sack a creature, create X1/1s. I'm Come to think of it, this deck should probably have an Imperial Seal in it because it's very combo heavy. Victimize is another one that can get multiple things back that we might need. All right, let's victimize. Well, yeah, okay, that's fine. Victimize. Only permanent card in your graveyard with mana value less than or equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. Life, death. Stacks, each player loses. No, we're fit there. Oh yeah, spells with flashback. I don't think we want any of them though other than Dread Return. We've got all that. And yeah, zombies out of the tombs. Bridge from below. Remember, one more creatures you control die, make a food, and then other things. Chthonian Nightmare. Pay X energy. Okay, so you get 3. Pay X, sack creature, return it to its owner's hand. So this used to be able to do dockside loops. Now I don't think it can do anything. Because it's always 2 mana to replay this, so you're cycling. There's what? Priest of Gix makes triple black. So you need to do it twice in order to loop creatures, which means you're going to lose 1 mana per loop. So that's not going to work. Unless you had 2 different ETB make mana guys, but there's not that in green-black. If it was black-red, you would have that. Actually, for my own edification, Chthonian Nightmare. Yeah, Priest of Gix, Priest of Urabrask, as I thought. Or there's this one. Ooh. Greedy Freebooter plus Priest of Gix. But you're still just breaking even then, right? You're not actually going up mana. Peregrine Drake plus something else. Yeah, sure. Okay. Let's move on. Oh. All right, I think I'm fine with all that. Wait, what was the tomb thing? Exile at mill 4, return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh, it's 5 mana to activate though. Yeah. So now we're what, 2 over? So let's look very carefully and figure out which cards we don't care about. Life's Legacy and Momentous Fall and Greater Good and Disciple of Bolus is kind of a lot. So maybe we just get rid of Momentous Fall because it's the worst one of the 4. So skip your draw, skip your draw. Uh, 30 lands. We're not going to go any lower on that. What about fast mana? Do we care about Blood Pet and Cabal Ritual? Are pretty good questions. I think we can get rid of one of those. All right, let's get rid of Blood Pet. So that seems pretty good. I would want to like goldfish this a whole bunch to figure out, do these combo lines actually work? Hey, he's back. What happened? My internet went down temporarily. So first of all, let's copy paste this URL into Spellbook and see if there's any combos I missed. So this is all the combos we already have, and then here's potential combos. Scourge of Neltoth. You may cast it from your graveyard by paying black and sacking 2 creatures rather than paying its cost. And that goes infinite with Thrynax and Altar. And it's a card that we can play from our graveyard, but it results in infinite tokens and mana. Hazel Brewmaster with Devoted Druid. Oh yeah, I still have Devoted Druid in here, don't I? I shouldn't have that. So there's Scourge of Nell. Combo. Exodus Altar, not that. Master Chef plus Viscera Seer plus a bunch of other things. I think I'm good on this front. Nim Death Mantle, yeah. Alright, that's probably fine. So let's goldfish this a bit and just see what this turns out as. Alright, so deal me a hand. So you'd have land, Sol Ring. So not really any enablers, but you'd obviously keep this because of how much... There's a bunch of mana and there's Sylvan Library, so you definitely keep this hand. And then it would be draw. And then our play would be like land, Sol Ring, go. Actually, no, we could even play turn 1 Library, right? Because we could go land, Sol Ring, pitch Elvish Spirit Guide, Sylvan Library, go. And then next turn we would go draw. And we'd like play out a bunch of other stuff in our hand, then draw. At this point, we would have lost 16 life. And we're still missing, like, most of the stuff. All right, well... If we can win the game off of Hermit Druid, then we should have a bunch of tutors, right? So we should have Worldly and Eldritch Evolution. That's probably fine, and then we need to make another 2 cuts. So I can get rid of Oppo Agent, and Bowmasters is not really helping me. Okay, deal me a hand. Let's see what we've got. Land, Petal, Birds, Priest, Hermit Druid. All right, Hermit Druid's in our hand, and we can literally play it on turn 1 and then win the game. So let me just go through this line again. It's Hermit Druid, mill our entire deck over. It depends on whether we draw a land or not. Let's just assume we have one. So then we've got Druid, mill our whole deck. We can delve Hogaak into play. And then as long as we've got a land, we can trigger Bloodghast to come back, or if we have enough mana, we can get Scourge of Neltoth. Although, actually, no, Scourge of Neltoth screws us. So it's mostly... No, actually it doesn't, because it triggers Bridge from below. So we mill our entire deck. I don't have a Forest or Swamp, right? Yeah, okay. So we mill our entire deck. Creatures, Dread Return... Stacking Hogaak, Hermit Druid, and whatever the third creature is, and we Dread Return back Rosda, which we can't activate. What creature actually goes infinite with Hogaak when we have no mana available, I guess is the question. Is there a creature that when it enters, it reanimates 2 things? Because that would help. Type creature. Return... Creature, graveyard, battlefield. I know there's a bunch of black reanimation creatures, but I think they all only reanimate 1 thing, right? Yeah, Delver. There's Young Necromancer, and there's the new Miracle guy, right? So there isn't. Did you add Ripples as a second library? Do you need Ripples? You don't actually get the cards unless you pay for them is the problem. So it's not really a library. Okay, so we go Dread Return on... So Corrosda is not going to work. So whatever we Dread Return, we can always get Hogaak back because we can just delve again. Or actually, no, we can't delve because we have to pay the... We have to convoke the mana, right? So that actually doesn't work. So we cannot win just off of Hermit Druid. We do have to have some additional setup. We have to have some extra mana, or we have to have extra creatures. Something along those lines. If we dread return this, that doesn't work. If we dread return... What are all the combos again? It's Viscerseer Thrynax, or Alter Thrynax, or Alter Thrynax, or Chaldea Alter, or Greater Good Zombie, or Corrosda Utopia, or Chain Wither, or Corrosda Alter. So, Hermit Druid's not a turn 2 win. It is... We do have to set up some more stuff in order to actually win the game. Okay. But we can win with it. We just can't win only with it. We got land, land, land. Some of this stuff, not really great. We do have a fair amount of card draw, though. There is creatures that return a bunch of stuff when they die. Are there now? When... die. I mean, there's Protean Hulk, but that's when it... That's searching when it dies. I could have Phyrexian Tower in the deck, but I would still need... Actually, is there a land that I would get rid of for Phyrexian Tower? Because I would just replace it on the spot, if that's the case. Painted Wood? Alright. Phyrexian Tower. Creature return creature graveyard to the battlefield when die. I don't see one that does that. I guess Balthor can be activated to return everything. Balthor might be another way of doing it. We'd get back all the black creatures, which would include Corrosda, Infested Thrynax, but it would not include, and Viscerseer, but it wouldn't include Utopia Mycon. But that is a way of doing it. Maybe Balthor would be a good way of doing it. You would have to have triple black open, but that's not that difficult to acquire. And so what can I cut for that? So Cabal Ritual, we don't get the mana until we already do the thing, right? How do you get a deck critique? Just post your Moxfield username so that I can search it and then tell me what deck it is. Maybe Mana Vault isn't helpful because it seems like what we're choked on is colored mana. So we can get rid of Mana Vault if that's the case. All right. Deal me a hand. We've got land, Sol Ring, another land, and then Bridge is in our hand. And Bloodghast is in our hand. Oh, that's something I didn't even think about, which is what do we do if we have cards that we don't actually want to play in our hand? I don't think we have a way of discarding them, right? I guess, oh well. Land, Chromox, Dread Return in our hand, Spirit Guide, Elves, Eldritch Evolution. This hand would be like Eldritch for Hermit Druid, and then try to just hard cast Dread Return to do the thing. Alright, it's a bit clunky to try to actually combo off, but I think it's doable. It's just we can't turbo it as fast as I would have liked. But otherwise, I think it's fine. So let's add Hogaak, link to the chat. Isn't there discard, return a card to the top of the deck enchantment? Well, actually, there's zombie infestation, so I guess we do have one way of doing it. All right, I think this is a reasonable take. Mostly built around comboing into Hogaak as quickly as possible. Well, using Hogaak as a combo enabler for all this other stuff. Could play a bounce land for turn 2 discard. Yeah, you don't need that. We just have zombie infestation. It's fine. All right, so that's Hogaak. Spin the wheel for the next one. Oh, the Bello deck. Okay. I actually added this. So let's do Bello. Bello, Bard of the Brambles, is a 3-mana Gruul commander. He's a 3/3 Raccoon Bard. During your turn, each non-equipment artifact and non-aura enchantment you control with mana value 4 or greater is a 4/4 in addition to its other types and has indestructible haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So it specifically has to be 4+. So, although he cares about artifacts and enchantments, he doesn't care about equipment, he doesn't care about auras, and he doesn't care about anything with mana value 3-. So, starter kit, 2-color mana base. Obviously, the deck is going to be built around our commander, so we need to protect him. And after that, I'm not sure. So Bello, he's a dirty good commander. Have played against him a couple times. How does Bello work with Impending Glimmers? They are creatures. That's also a pretty good one, yeah, right? So let's get rid of this and this, and probably most of this stuff. East Within, Long. Most of the rocks get gone. Explorer, Farseek, Belwar, Fertile Ground, Fire Diamond. Get rid of this, 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 this. Facebreaker can stay. Get rid of this and this and this. And this. And then we still have 22 ramp spells. Let's get rid of Devoted Druid. Let's get rid of Bloom Tender. All right, that seems reasonable. Xanthid Swarm out of here. Quick Reflexes out of here. City of Solitude, get gone. Bolt Bend, get gone. Destiny Spinner's redundant. And let's see, Ricochet Trap's fine. Sylvan Safekeeper's fine. Then all these lands, we got to cut the wrong fetches. So Blue-White out. Marsh Flats out. And Blue-Black out. For 30. Let's get rid of Tybalt and Burnout. All right, so here's our baseline. 68 cards to add. Doesn't it depend on which one's played first? No, it doesn't. Gods are a potential add. The gods are a potential add, but when a time counter gets removed, does the timestamp change? No. All right, well, from here, what do we have? We've got, obviously we're missing a lot more card draw, but before we get into like patching holes in categories that we're, oh, also, is Thornspire Virgin here? Oh, it is. I don't really want that either. Let's get rid of that. So let's just go ahead and look up all of the relevant stuff. So it must be green or red. It must be either an enchantment or an artifact. It must be 4+ mana, and it must not be an aura, and it must not be a equipment. Take it away, Scryfall. What do we have here? It's also, it turns them into creatures, right? So I don't want ones that are already creatures. Yeah, so let's turn creature off as a type that we get. We can turn the One Ring into a thing. What is other stuff? Great Henge. They're all 4/4s, right? Regardless of how much they actually cost. So preferably, we would want just ones that cost 4. All right, let's limit this to just CMC 4 right now. It's so awkward, too, though, because the fact that the power and toughness is set at 4/4 means having additional mana value doesn't actually help. But what it does mean is that we want to go wide, but we have to go wide with 4 mana plus cards. So I'm thinking if that's the case, then we're going to focus more on just the enchantment being inherently good in the first place. And just this adding to it helps us draw cards / beat our opponents down. So Panharmonicon is one option, although I don't think we even have like any ETBs in the deck at all at the moment, right? I guess we have Rex Sage and... is that it? Guardian Project. Okay, that would seem to slot right in. Guardian Project. Parallel Lives. We're not making tokens. Hedron Archive. Aether Flux Reservoir. We don't have a Reservoir combo. Hedron Archive, not something I really want. Mystic Forge is not going to work with most of our deck. Unwinding Clock, same deal. Conduit of Worlds is okay. Greater Good seems like a reasonable thing when our stuff is turning into 4 power things. So we're drawing 4 and discarding 3. That's actually not great. Wilderness Reclamation. It's good, but what can we do with it? Not really anything. Vidalcan Orrery. Okay, I like that one. The 4 mana green one that gives you a sack creature draw cards equal. Yeah, Greater Good. We have to discard 3 though, and if all the cards that we're transforming are 4/4s, then we're only netting 1 card out of that. I mean, that's possibly still good, but I think it's probably not. Elven Chorus cares about a type that we're not playing as much of. Nyx Lotus. That could be fine. Oh, do we actually have Nykthos in our deck in the first place, though? We don't. Get rid of... oh, is Pinnacle Monk in the deck? Yeah, we're not doing this. So, Pinnacle Monk out of here. Add Nykthos. Well of Lost Dreams is life gain. This is creature types. This is expensive. Disc, I don't care. Trading Post, whatever. Sneak Attack, not what we're doing. Defense of the Heart is kind of an interesting one. We don't have any, like, big awesome creatures to go get with it, though. Abundance, no. Monster Manual, also not what we're doing. KCI, also not what we're doing. Most of this is, like, not functioning at all with what we're attempting to do, eh? 3 or more lands with the same name. Chainveil, Echoes... play an additional land. You may look at the top, and you may play lands and cast creatures and enchantments. Okay, Case of the what is it? Case of the Locked Hothouse. Case of the Locked Hothouse. We might actually want to be playing more lands and ramp than we normally would because we're going to have so many things at 4. All right, Arcane Signet, Belwar Stone. What else? Leyline of Abundance? Sure, we'll add it. Leyline of Abundance. Voted Druid. Add that back. We'll add Luxior into the deck. Alright, what else? Pyrohemia. At the beginning of each player, may create a treasure token for each opponent who does. You create a treasure token. Nope. Nature's Will. Like that one. Nature's Will. Chariot. Okay, vehicles count. Although Chariot's not great. Mana Echoes, Courts. I don't want to become the Monarch. Sack a creature, add 3. Furnace of Wrath. Frontier Siege. Sure, we'll do Frontier Siege. Hey, new to the stream and the channel, is this high power brew or a CDH? I don't think it's possible to make Bello into a CDH brew, so it's a high power brew. So we should also do Overlord of Boiler Bilges, which is removal. And Overlord of the Hauntwoods, which is ramp. Okay. I guess Nature's Will is an untap effect, right? So tapper. This is sort of ramp. Like, I mean, that's what it is, but not really great ramp. So add it there. Case of the Locked House, I'm not going to categorize as anything. All right. Furnace of Wrath, no. And then there's the Red Siege. I don't really want that one either. From Beyond, upkeep, make a 1/1 Eldrazi Scion, and then you can sack this, search for an Eldrazi. If I play this, I definitely want an Eldrazi in my deck, so this ability can be used. So the question is, do I want to play this? I think I do. From Beyond. All right, what Eldrazi are we running? I'm inclined to just say Kozilek. Does it have any restrictions? It just goes and grabs an Eldrazi card. I guess it doesn't have to be one of the big Eldrazi, though, right? It can be a littler one. ID, red-green, type Eldrazi. Like, it doesn't have to be one of the... Oh, Void Winnower is pretty good, too. But it doesn't actually have to be one of the big ones, right? It can be a smaller one. Is there any higher costed enchantments that get discounted, or Avacyn's Chroma's Memorial? We'll get to that. I'm sure there are. The Overlords are 2 examples. We could grab Basking Broodscale, and then it combos with Rosy Cotton, which we can't play. So the other one it combos with is Blade of the Bloodchief. That doesn't sound great. Put your library for land and put it onto the battlefield and shuffle. When you cast the spell, if it was kicked, exile. All right, let's do Sowing. You kicked it, exile. Okay, so Sowing, Myco Spawn. It is both ramp and a tutor. That's probably good, right? That's 2 different Eldrazi, so we can grab the big one if it's later in the game and we want to draw some cards, and we can grab Myco Spawn if it's earlier in the game and we just want to cast something, right? That seems fine to me. So coming back to this, initiative, I don't care for. Creature power equal to toughness enters. You can pay 1 to draw. Beginning of your upkeep, exile the top. You may play it this turn. At the beginning of your end step, if you didn't play it, make a Power Stone. No. I'm not paying 4 mana to Impulse Draw. Whenever Horde Hauler deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token for each artifact they control. All right, we'll do that. Horde Hauler. What would I consider this? I guess ramp. I guess I would also consider Nick Lotus ramp. Golden Argosy. When it attacks, exile each creature that crewed it. All right, so we're not doing that. What a charge counter. What does this invasion do? Enters, exile all cards from your hand, draw that many cards. Until end of turn, until the end of your next turn, you may play cards exiled this way. Oh, it's a battle, not an, wait. Okay, it's an enchantment on the other side, right, duh. Okay, whatever, this one's creature type related. Stranglehold. Stranglehold indeed. Finally, a deck where we want to play Stranglehold. Throw in more Atlas. Sarkhan's Unsealing is not triggering in this deck. Creatures of haste. Whenever you attack, if creatures you control have total power 8+, target attacking creature you control fights something. Okay, nope. Attacks, exile at end of combat, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. As a what? A land that is okay. Stumble the Entmoot. Sacrifice it, create 3 XXs. Okay, well, we don't want to sack it. We want it to stick around. Uba Mask. Is there a combo I can do with Uba Mask? Because it's usually... you like combo it with Granite Magistrate. I don't think there's any combo in Gruul that you can do with it. Smokestack. Yeah, we can ignore that. Alchemist's Talent. Enters, create 2 treasures. Then level it up. Treasures you control have tap, sack this, so it makes your treasures double. And then when you level it up a whole bunch, so you've spent 11 mana. Whenever you cast a spell, if mana from a treasure is spent to cast it, this class deals damage equal to the spell's mana value to each opponent. Yeah, that seems not great. Awakening would normally be good if we had anything to do with the mana, but here we don't. Enter, search your library for 5 lands that have different names and exile them. At the beginning of your end step, choose a card at random, exiled with it, and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Sure. Omen. Path, Journey. Over human, Sleight of Ancestry, Allurin. Enters, make treasures, make guys. Colorless Crystal Shard. Deals combat damage player. Enters, you take the initiative. No, we're not doing that. Oh yeah, Sagas. Deal 4 damage to target creature an opponent controls. Exile the top card. You may play that card this turn. Yeah. Force of Portal, which is basically draw an extra card every turn, because you can you're never voting to blow everything up. Coercive Portal. What else? Create X wolves, where X is the number of your opponents with 4 more cards in their hand. Okay, so that doesn't do anything. And now here we're really starting to get into the dregs, eh? Combat damage to a player. You may cast the exiled card without paying for it. If you do, return this to its owner's hand because it has Hideaway. All right, I think we're good on this front. So now let's go to 5. I think once we get past 5, then things are being too expensive. So let's just look at 5 for right now. Gilded Lotus, I don't want that. Asceticism, all your stuff has hexproof. Razi Monument. It would give all of the other stuff flying and +1. We get trample already, right? No, we just get indestructible and haste. Okay, sure, Eldrazi Monument. Mind's Eye is another decent one. And we're back to the dregs. Oh, Stolen Strategy. That one's good. Stolen Strat. All right, and then let's say 5 or greater, and I was gonna say less to cast, but that's probably not the correct thing if you're trying to find stuff you can cheat on. It's probably stuff that has alternative costs in it. I don't know what those would be, though. All right, let's look at Rec at this point. We're at 90 cards, so we're pretty far in here. All right, Bello. Okay. Oh, yeah, Berserker's Onslaught. I think I even saw that one and I just overlooked it. Sunbird's Invocation. Kind of expensive. Gratuitous Violence. It's essentially the same thing as Berserker's Onslaught, but it's triple red, so it's harder to cast. I'll ignore that. Yeah, I don't want Eska's Chariot. They don't become 4/4s, right? They just are 4/4s. Yeah. Whenever you expend 8, return up to 1 target permanent. No, I'm not going to do that. Counters on something. Beginning of end step. Draw 2 cards if you control the creature with the greatest power or tied for the greatest power. Sure. Thickest in the thicket. Thickest. I guess this is a card draw spell, right? I mean, that's basically what it is. Rolling Ham Sphere. +1/+1 for each hamster. Whenever it attacks, create 3 hamsters. Then it deals X damage to any target where X is the number of hamsters, but it costs 7. All right, creatures. We have Fanatic Aronis in the deck already, right? Fanatic, yeah. Sanctum Weaver. Yep. Overlord of the Boiler Bilges. Evercoat Ursine. Hideaway. Deal combat damage to player. If this card's exiled with it, you can play them. All right, let's get past the creatures because we're mostly not going to care about this stuff. Oh yeah, the gods. I totally forgot about the gods. So Xenagos. God of Revels. Let's just look up the gods. Type God. And 4. So, do I want any of these ones? Porphyros is decent enough. So sure, Porphyros, God of the Forge. And there's Nylea's, which I don't really want. Toralf, which I also don't want. There's the other Porphyros, which doesn't really do much in our deck. All right, so that's fine. All right. On to the artifacts. Kymil. Kymil's decent. Bootlegger Stash I don't really want. Enters exile. When this deals combat damage to player, you may put a creature card exiled with it onto the battlefield under your control. So vehicles are a good way to do this. I guess this fits in with what the deck's doing. All right, Nautiloid ship. You know what? We're just gonna need more ramp. Like, we have so many expensive cards in our deck. Talisman of Impulse, yeah. Rule Signet. Mortal Sun, Disc, Great Henge. So the Great Henge, if we have things active, this costs 5. Yeah, no. When it attacks, attacking creatures get flying. Memorial, Sky Sovereign, Buggy, deal combat damage to the player. You may cast the Exile card. Yeah, we looked at that one already. Weatherlight. Deals combat damage to a player. Look at the top 5 of your library. Reveal a historic card among them. Put it into your hand. Now we got the ring. This does a whole bunch of different things. That's 7. Head Shredder doesn't really do anything we want. So all creatures with power 5 or greater until this leaves. Not helpful. ETB, deal 5 to an opponent's creature. Whenever one or more creatures your opponents control are dealt excess non-combat damage, create a treasure. Forge, we don't have enough artifacts for that probably. Now for the enchantments. Whenever you attack a player, choose target non-token creature. Attacking the player, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1, and then you sack the token. Alright, we got Guardian Project. This one sucks. Path of Discovery, blech. Outpost Siege was alright. There's a bunch of them that are like 4 mana Impulse Drive return. City on Fire. We can convoke it. Most of our creatures that would convoke it already add mana anyway. Mana Reflection is decent. By the time we get to it, we don't really even need it anymore. Aggravated Assault doesn't actually turn into a thing. Oh yeah, rooms. I would play Foyer. Shard. Foyer. Rage Reflection, don't need that. So wait, the mana value of the rooms is one of the rooms when it's on the battlefield, but if it's both if we unlock both, I guess? Yeah. Got Stranglehold already, that's good. And that would be that. And I already added the other things I wanted, so... Are we at 100 or are we at 99? We're at 99. Alright, let's just add more ramp, because this deck's gonna really need mana. We have this for card draw. What's the best one? Thought Vessel? It could just be a creature. Ornithopter of Paradise with the colors, or we could just add, if we're gonna add a creature, we should just add one of these. CMC equals 2, type is creature, add, color, yeah. Is it Bloom Tender? We don't have that many red permanents. I guess it's Bloom Tender. All right. So 100 cards. There we go. They've... So what are we doing here? We've got like 10 million ramp spells, although the bigger mana cards are being grouped into this category. So if we discount anything that costs 3+, that means we're minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So then this is more like 26, which is still a lot. And then we've got 29 lands. So we've got a bunch of protection so that when we play Bello, or so that when we have like all of these expensive enchantments and artifacts in play attacking our opponents, that's fine. A bunch of our 4 mana plus artifacts and enchantments have relevant abilities, whatever they are. And then we have... I guess this card would be what? Considered a cheat card because we can put the things into play directly. Yeah. So protection, ramp, lands. Some removal over here. And then mostly the way we're going to be winning is either just overrunning people with 4/4s, or we have infinite mana with Devoted Druid and Luxior, although we don't actually have a way of paying that off. We just have, like, things are expensive in our deck. Actually, no, we do. If we have Leyline of Abundance, then we have infinite counters on all of our guys. And then we also have Porphyros to trigger to damage everybody. We have a bunch of, like, even more heavy beatdown stuff here to give our guys pumps. And I guess we could hypothetically win with Kozilek, but that's going to take a lot. And I think that'll do it. So I'm good with that. I think ultimately this turned out to be less interesting. It would probably be... I feel like the ability on the card just doesn't work, because it's a card that everything about it, your stuff becomes creatures when they hit your opponent, that you get to draw cards, makes you want to go wide, but then you can't really go wide because your cards are so expensive. So I feel like if they flipped this to mana value 3 or less and just made the creatures not 4/4s, like they could just be smaller, but, you know, retain the rest of the ability, it would be not just a lot better, but like you could actually build it well. Here, I feel like I'm just jamming random artifacts and enchantments into the deck just because I need them for Bello, and then I have to play tons of ramp in order to get to Bello. Or not to get to Bello, but to get to like all these other cards, because like how many of them are you even going to have in play at the same time? So a bit awkward in the end, but if you're interested, here is the Bello deck, link in the chat. All right. Kind of starting to feel tired here, so I can promise at least one more, possibly more than that, but this may be the last one. So hopefully it's a goodie. And I see like a lot of critiques left on here, so let's do it. Braids if it's banned. Ban Braids by xanthicslime. Okay. Banless Braids. Okay, so you have a commander that is not legal. Oh, I see. We're really playing stuff that's not legal, eh? So I've generally thought that the whole idea of like, you know, I'm gonna legalize the silver border commander is typically to, you know, have fun, right? It's, I want to play this card that is like, it's not a legendary creature, but I want it to be my commander anyway, or the card is not legal in EDH, usually because it's from the unsets, but I want it to be my commander anyway. And that's usually done as a, you know, I think this commander looks really fun and interesting to build around. You have taken that philosophy and completely thrown it out the window and just said, no, nah, my commander's Braids. It's designed to make everyone miserable. And not only Braids, I'm going to play all this other stuff here too that is also banned in EDH. All right, then. Is it tagged? It's not tagged. Okay, so sort by type. You have 28 lands total, including 2 modal double-faced cards, which I would normally think would be a little bit under the amount that you would want. But hey, you know, we've got Mox Jet in our deck, so apparently that's fine. I still disagree with having... Well, okay, you're a mono black deck, so you've got four snow swamps, 4 regular swamps. I assume there's a reason for this split. I guess we'll see. What is this? Tower. Oh, this is Urborg. Oh, it's the original Urborg. And this Urborg. And then we've got Wasteland, Strip Mine. So we're just all in on opponents are going to be miserable, basically. Hive of the Eye Tyrant, I don't think is worth it. That's just another swamp. So God's Eye is here so that when you sack it to Braids, you get a 1/1. Okay, that makes sense. Dunes of the Dead, same deal. Yep, that makes sense. Field of the Dead. Oh, that's why it is, so that you can Field of the Dead. If you've got Field of the Dead, I feel like you should be able to find more black lands that are not overlapping on your swamps. I know there's a bunch of, like, legendary ones that got printed. So, yeah, you've got Shizo already. Drown Temple or Drown Yard Temple, yeah, it makes sense, so it can keep coming back. Castle Lockwood. You know there is a legal Braids, right? It's this one. Now I understand it's not the same, but it is a legal Braids. Is Possessed Portal in the deck? No. Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, Castle Lockdwain. Okay. Also, if you have Field of the Dead, you should be running fetch lands. You should be running all the black fetch lands. All 5 of them. That you get more triggers off Field of the Dead. What else? So then we've got Animate Dead, Bitter Blossom. Yeah, so all the cards that work with Braids. So all the things that just you keep putting tokens into play every turn or whatever. And then Blood Chief Ascension, Bottomless Pit, Chains, Dance of the Dead, Desolation. I notice you don't have Contamination in your deck as another stacks card. I would think that would definitely be in here, especially when you've got cards like Bitter Blossom that you can just keep paying into it. Ghoulish Procession, Kaya's Ghost Form. I don't really know why that's here. Necrogen Mist. Yeah, so we're doing the discard plan. Necropotence. Necrodominance should also be in the deck. Nether Void, Oppression, Waste Not. And then we've got all the artifacts, which is Crucible, Bridge. So everyone's going to be discarding, and then Bridge is so that your opponents don't kill you, right? I feel like... I mean, you got all these creatures over here, right? Isn't that enough to prevent your opponents from killing you? Ichor Wellspring, Jet Medallion, yeah, blah, blah, blah. LED. Why LED? So LED... Oh, because you've got Yogwill. Okay. Vault, Diamond... Jet, Mycosynth Wellspring, Nimble Right Schematic, Prize Statue. There's one more of them that does the same thing. It puts a token into play. Oh yeah, Servo Schematic. There we go. Smokestack, Soul Ring. Okay, then we've got Agademes, Chain of Smog. Is Liliana? No, so you've got Chain of Smog, but not... So Chain of Smog is an infinite combo with Professor Onyx. If you wanted to have that. Professor Onyx, albeit, is a 6-mana Planeswalker, and the combo does require you to discard your whole hand, but I think that's probably fine. Dread Return, Feed the Swarm, Imperial Seal, Innocent Blood, Pox, Reanimate, Sinkhole, Smallpox, Yogwill, bunch of fast mana, Deadly Rollock, Imp's Mischief. Okay, I don't know why Malakir Rebirth. Ashen Ghoul. Return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. Use this only at the end of your upkeep and only if it's in your graveyard with at least 3 creatures above it. I know there's other ones that come back. Yeah, Nether Shadow. Bloodghast, Ayara, the other Braids, Gissa. Leona Heretical Healer. Tunist, Nether Trader, Ophiomancer, Bowmasters, Reassembling Skeleton, Gildred, Skyclave, Solemn, Turgrid, Torok, Virus Beetle. I noticed that you don't have Orcish Bowmasters in here. Oh, no, you do have Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. Let's see. There's no Dothy, although you don't really need Dothy. But if you're forcing everyone to discard cards, it feels like Dothy would be a natural inclusion. What else? I guess that wouldn't work with... I don't know if Dothy and Waste Not conflict with each other or not. I'd have to read exactly the text. Let's see what else. And then you've got Liliana the Veil, and then Braids, of course. All right. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. The only things I really have to say are there's like a few cards that puzzle me as to why you have them. Like Malakir Rebirth. Then there's some cards I think are missing. Contamination. when you've got like tokens or creatures that can come back every turn. Professor Onyx to combo with Chain of Smog. Diversify the lands so that every single one of them is triggering Field of the Dead, and also play fetch lands so you can trigger Field of the Dead. Otherwise, I mean, you're playing a commander that's banned along with a bunch of other commanders, and even if someone were to agree to let you play this deck with them, the deck looks absolutely miserable to play against because it's got a bunch of discard effects and stacks and forces everyone to sack all their stuff. I'm almost certain that you're missing... I have multiple discard theme decks, so I'm almost certain you're missing some of the cards from those decks, so let me just go look those up right now. What would be the fastest way to find that? What's a deck? Oppression. It has Oppression in it. Yeah, Kroxa. Let's pick a mono black one. So Tiny Bones, Trinket Thief would probably be, or slash Turgid would probably be the most accurate one here. So let's compare to Tiny Bones. So this is also a deck. So yeah, you're running a Virus Beetle, but like not all of the other 2 mono ones that also come in and cause discarding. So Elderfang Disciple. Yeah, you could run Volrath Stronghold. That's another one. Let's see. Tiny Bones Joins Up is a 1 mana. Make everyone discard a bunch of stuff. Asylum Visitor is a way for you to get ahead. Vicious Rumors. Arterial Flow. Nezumi Informant. Rankle's Prank is another one that has potential. Oh, you don't even have Opposition Agent in your deck? That seems wrong. Mono Black, and you're even playing Urborg. I feel like Cabal Coffer should be in the deck. Planar Void. It's Planar Void or Dothy, one of those two, just so that your opponent's discarding all these cards is not so... It doesn't matter so much. Mind Swords is another thing that... It doesn't actually discard. It exiles cards from hand, but that's fine. Same basic premise. Tasker's Cruelty, Hopeless Nightmare, Bandit's Talent, Burglar Rat, like lots of Mind Rake, lots and lots and lots of discard effects that you're not running. Otherwise, pretty similar-ish. Who hurt this person? It was truly a tragedy, whatever happened. It's not that Braids deck, it's worse. Alright, see you later, Tentative Orc. Did I miss Mothman? No, we have not done Mothman. Alright, that was pretty fast. I can do another one. Yeah, that's Braids. I don't think you want the link to this one, I mean, it's your own deck, but xanthicslime, if you're interested in looking over Tiny Bones to see maybe some of the discard cards that you're not running that you might want to run, here is a link to Tiny Bones. All right, let's do another one. Burakos Party Leader plus Folk Hero requested by Bard of Snow. So they want us to build the deck from scratch. All right. So Burakos. And then the background Folk Hero. Burakos Party Leader plus Folk Hero. So Burakos it's a bunch of different party types, and it says whenever it attacks, defending player loses X, and you create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of creatures in your party. And Folk Hero is commander creatures you own have whenever you cast a spell that shares a creature type with this creature, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So I already did a Nalia de Arnis deck, and this is in the same colors. It's another deck that also cares about parties, so let's go types and tags. So Burakos is all the party types though, right? So you don't necessarily need to fill up on one specific creature. All right, let's add this 2-color mono base, then let's fix that up a bit so we get rid of the, as usual, the fetches that we can't use. Our Misty, Scalding Tarn, and Wooded Foothills. Let's see. Our commander is 4 mana. We're going to want, and we have this 2 mana thing that we want here as well. So Let's add some ramp. X is the number of creatures in your party. So it's always at least 1, and it can be a maximum of 4. We cannot take extra combat steps or turns because we're not red or blue. Let's see. I was going to say jet medallion, but actually no, we're 2 different colors, so. Let's see. Deep Gnome Terramancer is a wizard. Get rid of the colorless ones. So Chalice, Monolith, Heartless. Vault, I actually could want because of Burakos. Oh, 21. Let's get rid of Mindstone, Liquid Metal Torque, Thought Vessel, and Deluge. And then we're Orzhov, so we're probably going to want stacks cards. So let's see. Is this a Rule of Law deck? It probably is. Alright, just getting rid of all these stacks cards that we don't need. Rexing Sensor is a wizard. Okay, let's get rid of Arcana of Emeria. Alright. So where does that put us? Spell, swords. We have 65 cards in the deck right now with 29 lands. All right, so we already have Arnie's built, so I can imagine that I'm going to be able to transfer a lot of the same things over. So, Nalia. Copy this. Let's compare. By the way, what were the other backgrounds that we could have paired with? Right? So I get why it's Folk Hero, because we care about creature types, but just out of curiosity. All right. Kind of, I mean, it would obviously have been going in a different direction. Well, Haunted One would have been also caring about creature types, but that would have meant we would have only been 1 color. All right. So, unique to Nalia, let's add, we're going to add most of this stuff in, I think. Let's see, Alms Collector, Black Market. Oh yeah, Mutavault, add that. Let's see. Yeah, the Mom, Giver, Offers. Polisher, Skull Clamp, and Hymna. Ogma. I remember it was mostly like more clerics than anything else. Mindblade Render. Didn't bother with... I'm not going to bother with these ones this time, I think. Although maybe I should. Fragmentize. Stick together. Each player chooses a party from among creatures they control and sacks the rest. Dog moth. Coveted prize. I'm not going to add everything, but let's see. Winter orb. Bob. X. Borg. Gara. And then some of these cards only apply to Nalia because Nalia is specifically gives counters to things, so we don't need that. We do want creatures that blow stuff up when they enter, so do Skyclave, possibly Lauren. Not going to add Skrelv. Create a token for each creature in your party. Beginning of combat, if you have a full party, creatures you control get +1/0 and gain indestructible. I don't think I'm going to add in these because this commander is less about beating down and more about adding treasure tokens. All right, I think I'm good there. So let's head back to the deck. I want to add back in Vryn Wingmare. And then we've got a lot of, I assume a lot of creatures that draw that are like, would draw cards if we played Innocence. During Innocence and those type of effects. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yeah, a lot. So let's add the card draw into the deck, and then we can cut a bunch of this. We're not ad nause. We'll cut most of the non-creatures. Citadel, Mentor, Mystic Forge, cut Necro. Maybe we can keep Necro. Cut Pure. Cut Spring, cut Kazia's Trouble. What are we at? 99. What are our mana values? So not counting Witch Enchanter and Fell the Profane, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 4-drops, and this one, but it's reduced, so that doesn't count. And then a bajillion 3-drops. I probably would want another land. Because although it says, let's see, so we've got 33, actually, never mind. No, 33 is fine. So now, yeah, let's go see what does EDH Rec have to say. Burakos. And how do I add the partner? Folk Hero. Okay. So what do they say they want? Nalia, because she also cares about parties, I assume. But that actually makes sense. I'm already running, where is he? Squad leader, dude. Actually, no, I'm not running the squad leader. He was on the list, but I ultimately opted not to. I guess she still does make sense, though, right? Nalia. Making Death Touch. Actually, you know what? Maybe we don't want this. I don't know. I'll reevaluate. Beat down. Yeah, they also have this one and this one. And Squad Commander. I guess between getting Death Touch and Indestructible, I would rather have Indestructible. So, Squad Commander. Yeah, they're also running Initiative. Mirror Entity, I opted not to run. Time. Thwart the Grave, Deep Gnome, we've got that. We've got Mind Blade. it's most of the same cards as Nalia. Which is not surprising, obviously. Oh, I don't have Roaming Throne, do I? Yeah, let's add Roaming Throne so we get double the treasures. Right now we need to make a cut. Let's cut. What do our subtypes look like? I assume it's, yeah, a whole bunch of clerics. Then there's 4 rogues. Where's our wizards? 5 wizards. 2 warriors. Only 2 warriors. We have a bunch of clerics. We can probably get rid of Selfless. Technomancer, I don't want that. Alright, Instance, yeah, pretty much seen all of this before. Sorceries, pretty much seen all of this before. Artifacts, do we have Skull Clamp? No, we don't. Oh, wait, yeah, we do. We do have Skull Clamp. Okay. Well, Haunted One. Everything gets +2/0 and Undying. I don't really care about that. Agent of the Iron Throne. Also don't really care about that. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. Let's cut a... Let's... we're at 100, right? Yeah. Yep, we're at 100. All right, well... I mean, if you were here for when I did Nalia de Arnis, it's basically the same thing. It's just that whereas Nalia was focused on go wide, put a bunch of +1 counters on the team and attack, this one is more focused on value generation by getting treasures and drawing cards. But otherwise, there's a lot of the same overlapping cards in both decks. Fast mana is a little bit more useful here to get Burakos out quickly so you can start generating treasures. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, so that is Burakos Folk Hero. All right, that one was kind of boring. Let's try to end on a more interesting one. So let's hopefully the wheel will spin into a more interesting one next. So let's see what we get. Aha, well, Sean Eldridge. Mothman is indeed here. A critique of the Mothman. All right, so what does Mothman do? Is this rad counters? Ugh, now I gotta remember what rad counters do. Okay, so in the ugly art, let's take a look at not ugly art. Mothman. Okay, so good art. The Wise Mothman. 1 black, green, blue. 3/3 insect mutant. Flying. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, each player gets a rad counter. And rad counters are... At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, if you have any rad counters, mill that many cards. For each non-land card milled this way, you lose 1 life and a rad counter. So basically, mill until you hit non-lands and then lose life, but then the rad counters come off afterwards. So it doesn't, you can't like build it up over the whole game because the rad counters are going to keep falling off. Okay. Whenever one or more non-land cards are milled, put a +1 counter on each of up to X target creatures, where X is the number of non-land cards milled this way. So at ETBs or attacks, each player gets a rad, but they only get a single rad. And then we get +1 counters on each of up to X creatures, where X is the number of non-lands. So basically, the odds are you're going to mill roughly 2/3 of the time you're going to hit, and you're going to get once around the table each player, which is going to generate approximately 2 +1 counters, 2 to 3 +1 counters per loop of this. So the commander does not ramp, does not combo, unless there's a way to like infinitely flicker it, I guess, because then you could just pass and then everyone would mill, or draw cards. So it's going to be quite tricky to make this work. So let's see. Do you have the deck tagged? Indeed you do, except for a bunch of untagged stuff. So let's just take a look at how many lands you have. You have 34. That's a bit high, but fine. Once again, 3 forest, 3 island, 3 swamp. Too many basics. And then, yeah, you're playing like Twilight Mire. Filter lands are just atrocious. Do not run filter lands. Otherwise, this looks okay. But get rid of Bajuka Bog. That doesn't matter either. Yeah, I would want to like improve the mana base. I would want to have obviously the revised duels and like all the fetches and whatnot, but it's mostly fine. There's also better rainbow lands that you can play than Forbidden Orchard. So you are running City of Brass and Command Tower, but there's no Mana Confluence and there's no Exotic Orchard in the deck. You run those. And again, Exotic Orchard is literally a bulk rare. Like, it should be in every single multicolor EDH deck. So what is it that you are trying to do? Let's look at these categories. You've got copy, protection, removal, untagged stuff, win cons, board wipes, mill, card advantage, ramp, scales effects, untagged, recurrence, proliferate. All right, so let's look at win cons first. So we've got Blood Chief Ascension. So obviously works well with Wise Mothman. Okay, I see that Mind Crank is not in the deck. Mind Crank and Blood Chief Ascension are a combo. And it seems like, you know, you're running Walking Ballista. It doesn't seem like anti-combo stuff is much of a problem for what it is that you're doing. You got Fathom Mage, Herd Baloth, and then the thing with Herd Baloth is that card also goes infinite with Ivy Lane Denizen, which it seems that you're not playing either, because I would assume that you would have these in the WinCon section if you did. And then Simic Ascendancy, which is just truly bad. But hey, if you want to have fun with that, that's fine. What are the untagged stuff? Consuming Aberration, Glowing One. Deals combat damage to a player, they get 4 rad. Whenever a player mills a non-land, you gain a life. This seems quite bad. Breaching Scorch Beast. Whenever it attacks, each player gets 2 rad. Whenever one or more non-land cards are milled, you create that many 2/2 zombies. Do this only once each turn. Okay, that's fine. Conrad, yep, that's good. Zelix Sanity Flare. Whenever a player mills one or more creatures, you create a 1/1. Okay. Assassin's Trophy, which is good, but then you've got Atomize, which is not good. Maelstrom Pulse, which is also not good. Deadly Rollick. Okay. I would want to run different removal, so like Abrupt Decay would be one that I would want. Nature's Claim. Scales effects. Doing Scales for some reason. And yep, here's most of the Scales cards. Agatha's Soul Cauldron, Animate Dead, Evolution Witness, Life Death, Reanimate. You're missing Dance of the Dead unless you're intentionally omitting it. But I would run Dance of the Dead before I would run Life Death. Then there's Proliferating cards, Thrumming Bird, Vexing, Radgull, Canker Bloom, and Bloated Contaminator. I believe there's another 2 mana. There's like a Thrumming Bird equivalent. Where is it? Is it Radgol? Maybe that was it. All right, the one other thing I would say is that if you are interested in proliferating, I would have... There's two options, Evolution Sage for landfall to proliferate, and then there's the blue one, Flux Channeler, which is whenever you cast an instant or sorcery proliferate. Those would be options I would look at, especially if you're already willing to go up to 3 mana for Bloated Contaminator. So let's see, card advantage. Cold-Eyed Selkie, Danny Pink. Creatures you control have whenever one more counters are put on this creature for the first time each turn draw. Mystic Remora, Ristic, Poliwag, Sylvan Library, Toski. All right, if you're running these, so you could run Edric. That's another option for a Toski type card. There's also Grazilax in blue. It's also 3 mana and has a same kind of Toski-like ability. I would not run Cold-Eyed Selkie. That one seems bad. And then you've got Alter the Brood, Eye Collector, Hedron Crab, Mesmeric Orb. Oh, you do have Mind Crank. Okay, it's just not over here in the WinCon section for some reason. Psychic Corrosion, Riddle Keeper, Ruin Crab, Sphinx's Tutelage, Teferi's Tutelage. Cyclonic Rift, Nuclear Fallout. Each creature gets -X, and then each player gets X Rad. Toxic Deluge, Spark Double, Sakashima. I assume these are so you can have more Mothmen. Okay, Offer, All, Mutational Advantage. Permanents you control with counters on them gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to those permanents this turn proliferate. Okay, Ripples of Potential. Proliferate, then choose any number of permanents you control that had a counter put on them this way. Those permanents phase out. So it's like another protection spell. Flip out the back, Stubborn, Swan Song, Swiftfoot Boots. Okay. First of all, I don't know if you have budget issues. The fact that you don't have revised duels or even like fetch land. I mean, you do have some fetch lands, but not all of them. No, actually, you do have a fair amount of them, right? Okay. Well, you're playing 9 basic lands and you're playing filter lands and whatnot. So maybe you have budget problems. I'm not sure. The main things I would say here are, once again, you don't have like nearly enough ramp. This, you know, you're trying to get to your 4 mana commander as fast as possible, and you only have 8 ramp spells. That's just not enough. Secondly, I pointed out a bunch of cards that feels weird, like why is Dance of the Dead not here if you're already running all of these reanimation spells? Also, I don't even really understand why you're running reanimation spells, because it's not like you have some giant bomb creatures that are awesome that you really want to get to. You've got like a Herd Baloth in the deck, but you don't have Ivy Lane Denizen that combos with it. You've got a Ballista in the deck. So, and then you've got some protection spells, some of which are fine, but mostly when you go for protection, especially when you're in blue, you want lots of counter spells, and you don't have a lot of that. You've got Offer, Stubborn, Swan Song, and that's it. And Stubborn doesn't actually even work with does it work with Mothman? I guess in short notice. It won't work the turn you play Mothman. So I would want like a lot of counter spells here, and I would want a lot of ramp here, and then fix the mana base. And the other thing is, you've got this problem that I see with a lot of players who are running like theme decks, which is that you can't decide what theme you're doing. So you've got 2 themes here. One is mill, and the other is +1 counters, and those 2 themes have absolutely nothing to do with each other. I get that your commander causes both of those things to happen, but I think you really want to pick a lane and stick with it, because right now you've got basically 2 different, like if you take like the mill bucket and the +1 counter bucket, and you consider those 2 categories of things that you're doing, both of those cards really have nothing to do with each other. So you've got a ton of like anti-synergy in your deck, where you're going to draw some amount of mill cards and some amount of +1 counter matter cards, and neither of them work together. So you're going to have so many games where you've got both of like some amount of both of those types of cards, and they're not working together, and therefore you're not really able to do much. And if I was going to go for one or the other, I think I would go for the mill plan, since Mothman causes +1 counters to be put on things anyway. Now, you can still have a little of it, like the scales effects seem reasonable to me, since Mothman is putting counters on stuff anyway. But then you've got like just so much of it. Like you just proliferate cards and cards that cares about +1 counters, and Just so much. And then also, if you are going to do mill, there's some mill cards that I would think you would have in here that you just don't. So let me see if I can pull up. I'm trying to think of what decks that I have that actually care about milling. I know Phoenix does, which is in some of your colors. I guess that's the only one that matters, right? Because green doesn't really have mill cards. So Phoenix, and as far as +1 counter stuff goes, I guess Marath would be the other big one. So let's take a look at mill first. And let's see if you're missing anything that's pretty obvious. So there's like Fractured Sanity, which you don't have to tap the triple blue for. But I would also say things like when you're milling your opponents over, you're always running into the issue of what if your opponents have reanimation spells? What if your opponents have Underworld Breach combos? Like, if I'm going to mill players, I want a way to mitigate the fact that I'm milling them. So I want a Dothy Voidwalker, a Planar Void, like some card that is in that vein. Let's see. You're milling people already, so maybe Drown on the Lock could be good. Tasha's Hideous Laughter, I know it technically doesn't mill them, but if you're trying to actually mill them out, there's this. Bruvac is another option for milling. Memory Erosion. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, the player mills 2. You could run that. Fraying Sanity only enchants 1 player, but that is another option. Maddening Cacophony. The Mind Skinner's pretty new, but that's another option. It might be awkward because it's a triple blue card, but you could consider that. That's some of that kind of stuff that I might think about as far as playing mill. And then for Marath, so obviously ignore anything that's white and red here, but as far as green stuff goes, so yeah, I have the same Ivy Lane Denizen thing. Evolution Sage, which I already mentioned. Defiler of Vigor is another card that puts counters on all your stuff, although it is a bit expensive at 5 mana. What are some more? There's obviously all of like the +1 counter increasing effects, like Primal Vigor, Vorinclex. Again, they're a little expensive at, 5+, so you don't have to use these. What else? Doubling Season, obviously. Scurry Oak is just a better Herd Baloth because it's only 3 mana instead of 5. That's specifically if you're comboing, though. I guess if you're not comboing and you just intend for the Herd Baloth to get a bunch of 4/4s into play, then sure, go with Herd Baloth. There's also Branching Evolution. Arwen's another thing that causes stuff to enter with counters on them. So these are some other ones that you could consider. But anyways, oh, I didn't even read this up here. +1/+1 considering the Food Chain combo. I don't think you need Food Chain. And then there's Mesmeric Orb. There's also combos you can do with Mesmeric Orb. You see this here. That you don't have, but you could add them. I wonder about if I take this deck and I paste it into Spellbook, if there's some combos that you're omitting. Because you're clearly not against combos, because you've set up here that you want to do Food Chain, and you already have like Blood Chief plus, where is it? Mind Crank. So you're clearly not against combos. So some of them that you're not running that you could run. So yeah, the only combo that's actually in your deck right now is Mind Crank plus Blood Chief Ascension. But some other ones you could do, let's see. So you have a Kami of Whispered Hopes in your deck. You could run Vigian Graft Mage to go infinite with that. You obviously don't have to run all of these. Sleep Cursed Fairy plus Soul Cauldron. What are some other good ones? I think those are mainly the ones I would want to look at. Yeah, obviously Kami plus anything that can untap it repeatedly. Ivy Lane Denizen, which I mentioned already. And this goes on for quite a while, so let's jump back. But yeah, mainly it's just like taking out bad cards, putting in good cards, fixing up the mana base. You got a bunch of potential combos that you're just not running. Fix that. Decide whether you want to be a mill deck or a +1 counter deck. You can still have cards in both buckets, but you really want to be more heavily in one bucket rather than the other bucket. Like, not trying to mix and match and go 50-50 on both of them. Yeah, Dance of the Dead over Life. Life, Death, more proliferate stuff here. That's basically it. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully that was helpful. And with that, I think we are done for the day. We've got 11 more here. Plus, you know, if anybody has extra stuff they want to add on the wheel, you can do that whenever, as long as we're streaming. So if you did show up today, hope you enjoyed yourself. Sorry about the stream crashing at one point and it getting broken into 2. I will timestamp both streams as usual so that you can go back and look at like each deck broken down if you want. And I'll see you next time.